Ladies and gentlemen, this is Toilet Talk with Sgt Ryan, the #1 underground podcast in the continental U.S. and the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And thank you for being part of the Toilet Talk Nation. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, the Sgt Ryan. Today I have my co-host and a very special guest via satellite. First, I want to introduce my co-host, Raspberry Fresh. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Love to fucking see you again. Love to talk all this shit.
That's right. And our special guest joining us live via satellite, Big Ryan. What's going on?
What's up, everybody? Excited to be here.
Where are you out of right now, Ryan?
Right now, I am out of Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington.
That's right. That's right. Hey, thank you for your service. We appreciate it. We value it.
Thank you for your support.
All right. Before we get any further in here, I want to give a shout out to Lorena, Texas. You guys have been with us since the beginning, and we appreciate it. We thank you very much for listening. Thank you for being one of the best parts of the Toilet Talk Nation. You guys want to say hi to anybody?
I wanted to give a shout out to my mom, lovely woman, love her to death. And I wanted to give a shout out to the Spicy Boys, all the guys that I played with. Y'all know who you are. Love you, brothers.
Hey, much congratulations to the Spicy Boys. I don't know who the hell you are, but if Ryan has your back, I do too. I want to give a shout out to Sergeant Solomon in Fort Bliss. Right, he was with me in Korea. Hell of a guy. He's the guy that introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons. Nerd ass game, but it's so fucking fun. And also to Sergeant Ryan's mom because of that call. If you listen to this, Miss Ryan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure that's not your last name anymore, but you know what I'm talking about.
All right. On that note, Dungeons and Dragons. Do people still play that?
Fuck yeah! It's
hell yeah!
It's fun as shit.
Now check it out. When I was younger and it first came out, all right, it was straight taboo because kids were killing themselves and they would go to like sewers and stuff like that, and they would play the game, and it was usually outcast kids, and they'd either commit murder or suicide, but it was heavily associated with Dungeons and Dragons. Back in the, I want to say the late 80s is when it came out. But it was huge back then, and it was like almost like a Ouija board. What's it like now?
So I used to play it pretty regularly with a couple of the guys that I was at my last base with, and since it came out in what you said it was the late 80s, they're actually really only on the 6th edition of the game. So it's only evolved a few different times since then, and there's still a pretty big following for it. I mean, I know probably like 10, 15 guys up here that we work with, or that I work with, that play it.
I know it's very fun. I started playing it during COVID, right? Because I was in Korea when COVID hit. So we were confined to our room. And then common areas, I don't make the rules, right? So fucking, I was like, I don't have shit to do. And then my friend was like, hey, you ever play Dungeons and Dragons? I said, no, what a nerd-ass game to play. And I was like, and then a day later, I was like, hey, fuck it. I have nothing to do. Let me go play. So we'd go play in a common area. And honestly, it's a very fun kill time game, right? You have nothing to do. Play this fucking game. It's very imaginative. It's just a fun game to play. Did I ever want to fucking slice someone up with the actual sword? No, I think those guys might have had some fucking actual prop and blamed it on Dungeons and Dragons. But overall, it's a pretty fun fucking game.
Those kids had issues back then, the ones that played it. But when Stranger Things came out and then they were playing the game on Stranger Things, it took me back because I was like, damn, I hadn't heard about that in years. So... You guys have Stranger Things?
No. Yeah, I've seen it. Great show.
Yeah, I love it. I got a question for you guys. All right, here's a scenario. And true story. A friend of mine, there's a guy at their work, and by all rights, he's heterosexual. But he goes to the gay.
What does that mean?
Heterosexual?
Oh, that just means straight. Just say straight. Okay.
He's straight. I'm trying to keep it.
He's
Come on, man.
He's straight. But he goes to the gay bars and lets dudes buy him drinks. I don't know what else he does. Is this a common practice? Is that something you guys hear about a lot?
I don't think it's common practice, but I mean, it sounds like a pretty good savings plan to me.
No,
I mean, if I go to a gay bar and come out of there fucked up without paying for a single drink, I'm chilling.
So definitely not a common practice, but just like you said, solid savings plan, right? As long as I guess no one touches your ass, you're all right. Right? You can make false promises all night as long as the drinks keep flowing and you wake up in your own bed with no one else there. But solid shit, honestly. Like I've had women propose to me like, "Hey, let's go to a gay bar," right? And I'm like, it's I don't want to go to a gay bar, but solid fucking plan.
Yeah,
I agree.
It might be a smart hustle. Who knows? But hey.
Also, he might be fucking gay. So
it's possible. Yeah.
He might just not know it yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be premature. You never know. I was just asking. It was like everybody in the room was kind of like, "What the fuck?"
Hey.
It's all good.
Hey. Shit. Hey.
Free drinks are free drinks. Yeah. There you go. Hey, I want to talk about this girl up in Russia. Got 9 years. What's her name? Brittany Griner?
Brittany Griner. Ryan, do you want to voice it first or should I go?
Go ahead, brother.
All right. So she has a history of, this very not famous but popular, right? Let's hate America pastime. Right. And obviously, as from my previous episodes, very pro-America. I love America a lot. I love America and its citizens. And I don't obviously like people talking down on America, but I have also voiced, freedom of what to say, because that's huge. That's one of our founding things, right? You can say whatever the hell you want. So do I like that she's talked down on America? Of course not. But she is an American, is how I feel. So regardless of my opinions, she is an American. And I would go to bat for any American because they have the right to say what they want to. They have the right to feel what they want to. So I do care, but in this instance, I do not care what she has said. It does not impact the feelings of her for me. We probably wouldn't be friends. We probably definitely would not be friends. But she is an American, and I will stand up for every American because that is their right to do what they want. As far as the marijuana oil goes to a different country, you're a fucking idiot. Obviously, don't bring drugs to a country that has no fucking tolerance for drugs. So, fucking woo, right? So that's a whole different. I'm not a politically or legally practiced person. I got no idea how shit works. I just know what I want to do.
So for those that don't know, she was pretty famous for. She would stay in the locker room whenever they played the national anthem. She was in the WNBA, and they were advocating not to play the national anthem during sports. So, and then she ends up in Russia, and go ahead, Ryan.
So during the sorry to interrupt you. So why she was in Russia is that she played for a Russian league during the off season of the WNBA. So that's why she was there, because she plays for a team over there during the off season of the WNBA. And hey, the WNBA lost hundreds of dollars when she was arrested.
So, like, my opinion on this is probably going to be a little jaded because I'm a fucking hard dick war fighter for America. Through and through. As somebody was an infantryman for 4 years and deployed twice while I was one, I am all about like stand the fuck up for the national anthem, don't hide in the goddamn locker room, be out there, respect the flag, because people better than you are out there every day putting their lives on the line so that you can do dumb shit when you're back home.
Right, right.
But that should not be one of those fucking things you do.
You know what's crazy is when it came to free speech back when I was younger, it was all about letting everybody talk, including groups that would not jive with me. So if there was like, say, for instance, the Klan wanted to do a rally at City Hall, okay? In essence, you'd have to fight for free speech for everybody, no matter their message, whether you liked it or not. Everybody had a right to say something, whether it be them, Satanists, any group that didn't jive with the mainstream. So, but you had to protect their rights, and you would expect that from them as well. So she has the right to voice her opinion, even though it's not popular. It might be with some crowds, but it just, man, I don't know. And then now, why would you bring something that stupid to a country that has no tolerance? And no tolerance has a whole different definition over there versus over here.
No, tolerance is tolerance, right? And it means zero tolerance, right? And people might not just understand. They're like, oh, so I can get away with shit in America, right? But I feel like even, especially in the fucking army, if it says zero tolerance, it's zero fucking tolerance, bro. You can't do it or you can't have it, regardless of what it is. Is it a thing or is it an action? You can't fucking do it, right? And you know what? So, like I said before, I will always shout out to the Americans. But when you're packing a fucking bag, every time I pack a bag, whether it might be to one state away, right? I'm taking a fucking flight. I know that I fucking checked that shit out about 4 fucking times. I know exactly what is in my bag. So absolutely terrified that right? I'm like, oh shit, did I put a fucking bomb in my bag? I've never had a bomb in my fucking life, right? But I check it, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm walking through the fucking checkpoint. I'm like, oh shit, did I happen to put a gun in my pocket? No. If you're going on a flight, you know exactly what the fuck you have.
Right, right. And you don't take a pocket knife through TSA. You know what I mean?
Be like, oops, no.
Yeah, no.
And her rebuttal was, I'm sorry, I made an honest mistake, which is very reflective of what's going on in America. I do something wrong, and man, if I just talk my way out of it, or if I have an attorney and enough money, I can get out of it. But when you go to a country like that, it ain't like that. The rules are different.
It's a harsh reality of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they don't give a fuck. I mean, for example, they're running out of fuel and letting their soldiers starve in Ukraine. They don't give a fuck that this American woman is
about their soldiers, bro.
Yeah.
These are their soldiers. You think they give an actual fuck about some fucking lady from America? That's feeding Ukraine money and fucking weapons? No. Be realistic, right? So my favorite thing is to look at shit from the other side, even though I might hate it, right? Right? So say some Russian lady came to America while we were getting the shit beat out of us, and Russia was feeding our opposition a shit ton of money, right? And now she got caught with something that's illegal to us, so maybe fucking 9 pounds of fentanyl, right? Would the fuck we let her go? Fuck, first, bitch, you're Russian. We hate you already. Fucking, you're giving hella money to other fucking people that are trying to fight us. Fuck your life. Bing bong. Like, what the hell?
Also, you got to think, in a country like that, there's not going to, in a country like Russia, like if that scenario were to happen, there's not going to be a major movement in Russia to free that woman from America. They'd be like, oh, she got caught, whatever, fuck her.
I don't think they got a woke movement over there,
They
probably
definitely
not.
You can look that. You can search that.
Hey, you mentioned deployment.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that. What's the process beforehand? And like, how do you get your stuff ready when you leave? For people who aren't in the military,
how do you get your mindset ready?
Well, no. How do you get your bills, your life, and all that ready? Because you're going to leave for I imagine you have a good idea of when you're going to be gone or how long, but that could be subject to change.
Yeah. So the unit I was with, DECO 2325 AIR Airborne Infantry Regiment, stationed out of Fort Bragg.
82nd.
So I was 82nd. I was airborne infantry for 4 years, and now I'm a Black Hawk mechanic. I'm a 15 Tango. So our deployments were kind of weird. Both of our deployments. So the first one, our entire battalion deployed minus our company. Our company stayed behind out of the entire battalion.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll get to that in a little bit. And our entire battalion went to Iraq. So about 3 weeks later, we got the call. Hey, we need backup. Shit's a little harder. Shit's a little heavier and hotter here than we expected it to be, and we're pretty much only doing mounted operations. So they expected it to be all dismounted operations, so all on foot. Now, Delta companies in infantry battalions, they're the heavy weapons companies. So we use 50 cal machine guns, Mark 19s, which are the grenade machine guns, ITAS systems, which shoot tow missiles. And things like that. We don't use smaller weapon systems that the line units would use because they're always on foot walking while we're in Humvees, Max Pros, MATVs driving with our heavy weapons. And they got over there and quickly realized that this was not a dismounted, fighting scenario. This was all mounted combat, driving through cities, blowing holes in buildings. And that's when they realized that they needed our Delta company over there. So we only had 13 days to get ready for deployment. Where these guys,
for the people that don't know, like, would it be similar to maybe if people have seen Black Hawk Down? You know how they drive through the city and they just shoot the shit out of stuff.
Yeah. So like that was the kind of environments that we were in.
Okay.
It wasn't, it wasn't like we were stomping through, large open fields and marshes and shit like that. It was, we were in close quarter scenarios, driving through the streets of downtown Missoula. But we only had 13 days notice when we deployed because we were deploying late. The rest of our battalion had 6 months notice.
Oh, okay.
And so me, PV2 Ryan, I had been in the Army 6 months. I had been married for, 4 months at the time to my ex-wife. And honestly, like, shout out to her because I got that 13-day notice. I came home and I said, hey, I'm going. She said, okay, let's sit down for a second and figure stuff out. And we sat down for about 4 hours, got a couple things figured out, like what bills we needed to put on auto pay. Because at the time, we had just started our lives together. We were two broke 19-year-old kids, didn't know what the fuck we were doing, right? We just moved into our first house and gotten a dog. Like, we had no idea how to be adults.
Yeah.
So my mom ended up coming out, helping us move out of our house. And for those 13 days, my mom and my ex-wife pretty much just handled everything and just told me to sit down, relax, pack my gear, and make sure that I was ready, mentally and with all my, proper gear and stuff like that, and to let them take care of everything on the home side. And it was like that for both of my deployments. So like the first deployment, like I said, I had 13 days notice. The second one, I had 9 days notice. And both times, same thing. My mom would fly out, help my ex-wife pack up the house and everything, get everything ready with bills and all that kind of stuff, and would just let me be me, get in the right mindset, pack all my gear away, and make sure I'm ready to go.
Does the Army help you out in that regard? Do they have planners or assistants to help out the family members that are left behind?
Yeah, they do. So the Army has this thing called OneSource, and it's kind of like a one-stop shop for everything you need. They have finance counselors, they have marriage counseling, they have like if you need like help with like alcohol abuse or anything like that. They have a lot of different resources like that. They also have offer resources for like, heaven forbid, like suicide prevention and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's one of those things that like my ex-wife was able to go to them and get into contact with other spouses across our entire, battalion and brigade who were also deployed and around the same age, so that she could have some friends who, were going through the same thing that she was.
Okay. Huh. I always wondered about that. And how, if you don't mind me asking, what was your general feeling about going? You know, you're going to a war zone. You know, you're going to a place that's not safe. You got training for it and all that. For a mind that's never been through that, what's your first reaction when you get there? If you don't,
yeah, so like when we first got told for my first appointment, we were all sitting in the cough, just smoking and joking, bullshit, like like we normally did. Complain. Cough is our company operating facility. It's just kind of where all of our like gear and stuff like that is stored. It's where our arms are.
It's like a building where people just go and shit.
Yeah, so like we had 4 little areas that were sectioned off by lockers for our gear, and each area was for a platoon. And we were sitting in our little platoon area in the cough, and we were just hanging out, smoking, joking, and the platoon sergeant walks in. He's like, "Hey, everybody shut up. Listen up. I got something to say." All right. We're like, "All right, what's up, sergeant?" He's just like, "Hey, we just got the call. We leave in 13 days. Everybody go home right now. Tell your families. We have RFI draw in 2 days. RFI is where you go to get issued all of your gear for deployment." He's like, "We got RFI draw in 2 days." Said, "Okay." So we went home. Everybody went home and did their thing. But I mean, as soon as he told it, I mean, all the boys were dead silent. I mean, honestly, none of us knew how to react because none of us had deployed before. Our platoon sergeant and our 2 section sergeants were the only ones that ever deployed. So we were all just kind of awestruck, like, "Oh fuck, like, is this actually real?" And then, on the drive home to work or from work to the house, I mean, it was like a 2-3 minute drive because I lived 2 miles from the cough. But I mean, that's when it really set in, and I was like, I am going to a place that I've never been to before to fucking possibly get my ass blown off. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, right.
Right. Wow.
And like I said, I was 19 years old at the time when I went on my first deployment, so it was something else.
So most 19-year-olds feel invincible.
Yeah.
And then you're faced with a super harsh reality that maybe you're not.
So that kind of invincible feeling didn't really go away until we got hit by a rocket attack for the first time. So we landed and everything. We're good. We got settled down in this big FOB in Iraq. It's a joint army, U.S. Army and Iraqi Army
What's a FOB
base. FOB is a forward operating base. It's just a large compound full of tents and shit like that, where all the different MOSs can stay and do all the work they do.
So it's like
and it had a small,
or not a boss, but a base, right? An MOS is MOSs are different jobs in the military, right? So your MOS is just what your job is,
right? And this is one with the airfield on it and stuff. And we got there, and our tasking was just to guard the airfield for the first month that we were there. And we were there for 36 days before we got hit with our first rocket attack. And that is when that invincible feeling went out the window as fast as you could blink.
You're bouncing on your ass, right?
No, but they were close. Because I mean, it was one of those things where I was just sitting on guard, smoking and joking with one of my buddies in the guard tower, and then the rocket sirens started going off. That bam, 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 incoming, and then the CRAM, which
they're a shitty voice, right?
Yeah.
Incoming, incoming, incoming. It's like that's the last thing I want to hear right now, bitches. Say, hey, isn't it?
But then the CRAM, which is the missile defense system, started going off, and it's basically it's a Vulcan mini gun hooked up to a targeting computer system that shoots rockets out of the air before they can impact.
That's isn't on ships, right?
Yeah, they use a smaller version on Navy ships. Yeah.
Okay.
No, the fucking A-10 Warthog, right? Don't they use
the A-10 also has one of those miniguns.
Yeah.
But the CRAM started going off about 2 seconds before the IDF sirens went off, and that was when I was like, "Holy fuck! Like, this is it. A mortar round or a rocket is about to come through the roof of this fucking guard shack, and I'm about to be turned into a meat slushy."
Meat slushy.
Oh man. What would you tell someone who wants to join the Army right now? If I was 18, just getting out of high school, and I walked up to you and I said, "Hey, I want to join the military in general." What's the one piece of advice you would give me?
My one piece of advice that I would give to you is, as much as I love the Army and love the recruiters and everything, it's look at all of your options when you're going to enlist. Make sure you choose the branch you want to be in because they're all significantly different.
Okay.
And make sure the job you want, like the job you're getting, is the job you want because you could be stuck in it for 6 years.
Oh, man. Okay.
So, like, I came in as an infantryman, like I said. So my contract to initially come into the Army was only 4 years. Now, Tubbs here, he joined as aviation. That contract, your initial contract is 6 years.
Yes, it is.
So I could have been out of the Army, after, my one and done, 4 years, on to the next thing. That's 6 years. I mean, that's a long commitment.
It's a long time, and when you sign that contract, you don't really realize how fucking long 6 years is, right? You're like,
yeah,
fuck yeah, I'm joining the fucking Army right now. 6 years? What's that? Normal commitment's 4 years. 2 more years? Psh, easy fucking money. That's because your recruiter doesn't tell you what the Army actually entails.
Yeah, I remember that, taking you down there and all that stuff you had to go through. One question I got on Twitter, a fan wanted to know, if you have to go to the bathroom while in formation, what do you do? If you get bubble guts and you're standing in formation, what do you do?
You either shit your pants or you hold it.
Damn, you can't leave?
It depends on the formation. If this is just like your standard, like, accountability formation, like getting a count, make sure all your ducks are in a row, yeah, you can be like, hey, sorry, I gotta run to the bathroom real quick, I'm about to shit my pants. And you're good.
PT, yeah. That's where your accountability comes from. But if it is
but if you're sitting in like a change of command or like a ceremony or something like that, you're shitting your pants or you're holding it. That's it.
Because
there are no other options. So, like, perfect example of this, right? We didn't have anybody shit their pants in formation. That would be fucking hilarious because they would never live it down. But, like, I was in a change of command ceremony in North Carolina, and it started pissing down rain because this is like a day or two before a hurricane hit us. So it just starts pissing down rain, and we're all just standing out there in formation, just listening to some captain give a speech about how he's excited to take command of our company. And we're all just sitting out there like, cool, dude, shut the fuck up. I want to go inside.
And were you in your good uniform or were you in your everyday uniform?
We were in our everyday uniforms, but like I said, it was still when I was still an infantryman. So airborne people, instead of wearing patrol caps, the normal Army hat that you see, we wear red berets. And when they get wet, they smell like a wet fucking dog.
And they get heavy as
yeah, because they're made out of wool.
Oh man!
And then, hey, so real quick, right? I forget what it's called, right? But it's if you pass out from a heat the heat casualty, the silver bullet.
Yeah, the silver bullet. That's what it's called.
Okay. So for y'all, so the silver bullet. I don't know what it's made of. It's a
rectal thermometer,
right? And everyone hears about it. It's kept in a cooler or a freezer. It's cold, right? You just passed out from a heat casualty, and I've never seen it happen to anyone.
I have,
but so it's just raw. They shove it up your ass if you pass out from a heat casualty.
Yep.
So that way your core temperature cools down.
Well, so they come off the top rope and just wham!
Pretty much. So I have a perfect example of this. We were doing EIB, Expert Infantry Badge. All the grunts know it. They all fucking hate it, right? Because it's fucking shitty 3 weeks. But one of the final events you do is a 12-mile ruck march. When we all did this, it was August in North Carolina. So it's probably like 100 degrees with 100% humidity. We all wanted...
How much weight do you carry during this?
We had a 45-pound rucksack, your M4 helmet, and a flick or taps, which is just like kind of like a vest you wear that holds all your magazines and stuff like that.
So altogether, maybe 80 pounds.
No, I'd say altogether probably closer to like 60.
Oof.
But that's not counting any water weight you have. So you have to do this 12-mile ruck march, right? And it's in the heat and shit, and it fucking sucks. You're drinking water, but there's just not enough. And one of my good buddies, I won't say his name, but I'll say his nickname, Baby Chuck Chuck. he catted about 30 feet from the finish line, and in front of a crowd of about 115 people. I mean, this is like soldiers and their families and stuff, like little kids, wives, and everything. Medics ran over there, stripped his pants off him real quick, silver bullet right in the butt.
No, in front of everybody.
In front of everybody, and they have to do it like that because if not, it could kill you.
So yeah, that's just an unfortunate thing of that's medical care, but
yeah,
no shame. No shame. You got to do what you got to do, man.
How would you have right? You are saving that person's life, but at the same time, holy shit.
Now, once they got it in there, they took one of them took their top off and threw it over the exposed part of them.
Okay.
Took their jacket off and put it over the exposed part of them to cover them up.
So they gave him some dignity.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wild shit, dude. That would suck. I would like to say that I would rather die, but I would much rather be saved and just live with it.
Yeah.
So everything's Spartan.
Yeah. Although the amount of jokes we gave him after that, he will never live that down.
So fun thing about the military, right? So now I'm a civilian, is that you can't make as many jokes, right? Army life is funny. All we do is talk mad shit to each other.
Yep.
Like a fuck ton of shit, right? So just like he said, so his buddy just got a rod in his ass to save his life, right? No one gives a fuck, right? So now we're just making fun of you for having a fucking rod in your ass.
100%.
When we were in NTC, do you remember that? We were talking to that one guy, and I acted out of frame, but there was one guy who said, put fish on your forehead.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's not something I could bring up on here, but so here's we talked about something. He was like, put bitch on my forehead, right? And we were like, what the fuck are you talking about? So we're in the middle of the desert. We don't have enough water. We don't have good water whatsoever. Fucking we're hungry as shit, right?
We've been out there for 28 days.
Go ahead.
We've been out there for 28 days at this point, just hanging out. What were there, 17 of us? We're all tired of each other at that point. Stinky.
Wipe your ass.
Especially me. Right. I was especially stinky, I know.
He was talking about this on the other episode.
I was listening to it, and it made me think of when we were down at NTC.
Oh, man. Hey,
it's and boredom is the real killer. We had a beetle. We just caught a beetle. Do you remember that beetle?
Yeah, bury the beetle.
Bury the fucking beetle. We put them on. I think it was a piece of 550 cord.
Yeah, it was the little inside part, the guts.
Yeah, and we had a beetle, and we were just walking him around. Right, not walking around, but he was on a leash. And then someone got bored. He said, "Okay, fuck this beetle," and they slung him around, and they killed the beetle. Right. And to us, that was the most atrocious fucking thing you could ever do.
This man had pretty much committed a war crime.
I swear to God, right? Just because you're so fucking bored, right? That beetle just meant everything to you.
Yep.
It's fucking wild, but it's very fun. It's very funny.
Now, anybody get caught rubbing one out?
Yeah, I did. Pretty sure I did.
Yeah. You do, and you know what? Either you do it in your tent, which I didn't have I did have a tent, I just didn't use it.
Same. Actually, I was rubbing one out when we took contact. That one night that they tried to take the CP, and I came out of my little tent cot that they got me pants
Dick
half
hard.
off,
Dick hard.
dick hard, pants off, fighting to get them shits up and throw my kid on and yell at everybody else to throw their kid on.
Okay, so for y'all to understand, Ryan was in charge, right? He's by far the most experienced person among this group, right? So
Definitely not the most
taught us the best
professional,
that
but
he
I was in
could.
charge.
But it's 30 fucking days in the desert, and there's not shit to do, and it's nighttime. Okay, so you're gonna do what you're gonna do. So usually, if we took contact, we would look to Ryan. We'd be like, right? He's in his tent, obviously jerking one off. So fucking, as soon as you hear contact, because what the fuck,
You
right?
hear the gunshots.
Like, oh bitch, that's not me. Let me throw my full fucking kit on, grab my weapon, and fucking scurry over there. So usually we looked at him, but he was not there. So we were like, "Where's Ryan?" And
I
then
made it out there. So
He was throwing DNA. That's what he was doing.
yeah. So what happened was
Biological.
we started every time we took contact, no matter what, like except for this one scenario, I was the first person with my kid on running straight to the tactical operations center to get orders from command on where they want us, what they want us to do. Yeah, I slept with my boots on and in full uniform. My kit and my rifle were right next to me. I was ready to go within 5-10 seconds of the first gunshot. Yeah. And this time, the gunshots went off, and I wasn't out there until like a minute and a half later. And they're all standing right outside of
That's a very long time, by the way.
Yeah, especially for me. But like they're all standing right outside of our little sleeping area waiting for me because I'm the one that takes everybody over to the talk. I go inside, get the operation order, come back out, give them the order, and then we go. So they're like, "Ryan, where the fuck you at?" And I'm like, "Oh shit." I come out of my tent like a bat out of hell, dripping fucking sweat because it's still 90 degrees at night in the desert. I got my pants around my fucking cankles, dick still rock hard. I fall over the dude's fucking tent that's right next to me, trip over all my kit and fling it with my feet by accident. And these guys are just laughing their asses off in the middle of a fucking gunfight about 10 feet to my right. I finally get up, get my pants on and my kid, and I'm like, "Ever shut the fuck up, let's go."
So, it was fucking hilarious. But it's a snap that fucking fast, right? We just watched the guy in charge of us fucking fall on a tent with a rock hard dick. Fucking right. Watching it. There's still gunshots. The fucking firefight has not stopped, right?
Like there's fully automatic weapons shooting, like artillery simunition rounds going off, and we're just fucking crying. These guys are crying because they're laughing at me.
We are the quick reaction force, fucking right. So that means that we need to be at that situation immediately, right? Oh my lord. Didn't happen.
The most important part, though, I finished.
That's all that counts.
That's all that
matters. Story. That's all that counts. That's it.
And Mom, I'm sorry, because I know you're gonna listen to this.
Now I gotta ask. Now your guys' experiences and other people's, like with Raspberry, when he gets out, and I asked him, how do you integrate back into society? When you've lived a certain way, you've cherished it, you've done it 100%, and then you got to go into society with all its rules and fake rules and all that shit. How is that transition? Is it hard? Is it not? And when you make that transition, what are you going to do to prepare for it?
So I've kind of already made a transition similar to that, right? So I went from being in the infantry to being in aviation. I went from one of the harder, like, non-special operations MOSs to one of the softest MOSs in the Army.
Okay.
So I went from a job where I can walk in at any given point. There's probably somebody upstairs lifting weights. There's probably a couple of dudes in the corner fighting or like trying to handcuff another guy and shove him into a locker. There's some dude in the over there making cardboard armor so he can fucking run around and hit people with a big sword he made, to aviation, where I get in trouble for calling somebody an idiot.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I kind of already like made that transition once, and I didn't do it well. Just to put it frankly. I mean, Raspberry, you can probably, elaborate on that a little bit better.
I can. I think Ryan doesn't know what he's talking about. Aviation is very cool. Right? Everything is strong. Super cool. Strong as shit. Fucking no. So I just recently got out of the Army, right? And honestly, transitioning from the military into a civilian workforce, it's a super strange environment. And I spoke on this earlier about the culture, maybe, because in the military, we would, you just talk shit to each other, but you're all friends, you're all family, you all love the shit out of each other, right? You might say the dirtiest fucking shit to each other, like the foulest shit you've ever heard, but it's all right, and
But it's
no one gets feeling.
Yeah, nobody gets upset about it.
Okay.
It just
Like if I can use this as an example, I had an Indian friend. He was from India. I called him Sri Lankan all the fucking time. He didn't give a fuck. He called me Post Malone, right? So, and it was just a hell of a time.
There was none of those barriers that you got to deal with outside the gates.
Right, okay, and that just in general, people in the military aren't as big as snowflakes as the general like civilian population. Like my mom put this like the best way possible. She's like, since you've been in the Army, you, number one, have been less patient with everyone, and number two, you don't really want to be around people who are also in the military because you don't get along with them. And my answer was simple. I don't have patience because in the military I'm used to saying, hey, we need to do this, this, and this, and we all go do it. And I don't want to deal with those people because most of the people I've interacted with since I've been in the military just piss me off because they're all fucking idiots.
Right, so you expect a certain level of professionalism of people in the military. Yep. Right, and you expect that, right? And they don't meet it. And then you go into the civilian world, and they are nowhere near what you expected from these people who couldn't meet the basic standards, right? So, as far as he says about talking about stuff, now I have an HR department at where I work. Wild as shit. What the hell? Oh, you just can't say whatever. So in the military, we did have something where you obviously just can't say whatever you want. But,
right.
But now you can barely speak. You got to be. It's a weird dynamic, and I really don't know how to explain it yet because I'm still very new to it. But it's such a different situation than what I was used to, right? Because in the military, me and Ryan, we would talk shit to him. We'd be like, hey, you fucking thin-lipped white boy, right? And he'd be like, hey, you stupid fucking Mexican asshole, right? And it was fine. We're still best friends.
Yep.
Now, I can't say shit, and it's very weird.
So that's the way it used to be.
Eye contact comes into play also. Go ahead.
It used to be like that. Whenever you're with your boys, you just talk mad shit. And then as time went on, things started changing in society. I don't know why. Just all that propaganda came in. And then it's a different world. And you got to watch what you say. And all the fun stuff started to go away. You couldn't say everything you wanted to out in public anymore. You had to do it privately. So then you had, poker night with the boys. So then you could actually talk shit. I'm going out on this night and all that. Because if you did it now, it would just be, it'd just be horrible.
Yep. And society just as a whole just got softer on that side of things, I think.
Yeah.
And I did. And I talk about that a lot. I think men need to be men. A lot of, this social media plays a large part in that is what I feel.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of that, what do we talk about? The fall of self-esteem related to social media.
100%.
The rise of narcissism just because of social media.
Yep.
So okay, so I'm going to say something, right? And this is not an attack on any gender whatsoever. But it makes sense to me. And like I've always said, if you have an argument against it, please feel free to talk to me about this _raspberry fresh on Twitter. So I feel like these dating apps and, you know, how you feel, right? It's more of a how to feel about yourself system, right? Because these women, right, they might have 500 men. I don't know. I've never tried to be a woman on a dating app, but I can just expect that they might have a shit ton of people hitting them up, right? Because I have used them, right? I swipe right. I said, she's hot, she's hot, she's hot, she's hot. I can just imagine every other man was like, oh, fuck. I feel the same way. So it's a more of an ego boost than it is actually looking for someone. And then the ego boost, right? So if you use Instagram, do you care about what you post, or are you looking for likes? The same on TikTok, the same on Twitter, all these things. Are you actually a functioning member of society, or are you posting pictures to chase that that likes give you?
You know, it'd be kind of weird, because if you were a girl and you had that many guys hitting you up, it'd be like a buffet at that point. And yeah, it boosts your self-esteem, I'd imagine. But you got your pick of all kinds of people. Like people who have been locked up for a long time. The guards that are in there wouldn't be a 10 on the street. But after you did about 15 years, you got 10s. And then they get their pick of any guy there, and all those guys are ripped. And it's a whole different environment. But on social media, I mean, like you said, what was it, a couple episodes ago? You know, you show your ass, everybody's getting likes, getting that hit of dopamine. And what are you about at the end of the day, other than a piece of ass?
Honestly, and a piece of untouchable ass, honestly, because you're so infatuated with these likes and whatever else that you feel like no one is worthy of you, right? So how is anyone going to meet you, actually talk to you? You probably have no purse of fuckingality.
You know what? And I'll throw this out here. Selfies. It used to be when people took a picture, you looked in the camera. Now people look into the phone, looking at the camera.
Yep.
So whether if guys or girls, they're looking at the phone, looking into a mirror. So it's a shot of them looking into the phone. You can't see the face, no eye contact, no nothing. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here, you know?
And like another big thing that I've noticed with like all this Instagram, TikTok, all that kind of shit, right, is it's causing a lot of issues with, like, you know, younger crowds. You know, it's causing a lot of, females, for example, it's causing a lot of body dysmorphia, because they see all these girls that are like, you know, they're actual like supermodels or whatever, getting, you know, tens of thousands of likes on Instagram and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, I want to be pretty like them. I'm gonna, you know, you have to do this, this, and this to get like them. It's like, who cares? Be you. Be whatever version of you want, but don't be that version because of, you know, an Instagram influencer or something like that. Be it because that's what you want to be.
I want to back that up, because look, a Victoria's Secret model, she might be hot, right? That's why she's on Victoria's Secret, whatever. But you're still very attractive, right? So we still have these women. We still love all these women. And it's weird to express because they feel like they need to meet a standard, right? But when you love a woman, it doesn't matter what standard, you just love them, right? And it's weird to say, it's weird to understand in the context I'm trying to speak of. But they're all
beautiful. Love them for who they are, not for their makeup.
Yeah, so when you, right, so obviously looks, when you first meet a woman, or, you know, you just meet someone off looks, you're like, oh shit, I think she's fucking outstanding. And then you meet them, and they might be a terrible person, or they might be the most fantastic, right? Or they might be the most fantastic person that you've ever met. So the looks, they matter, but they don't matter as much as people think.
Yeah, I agree.
Looks are superficial, and then if you got a chick with fake tits, she's going to act a certain way, and she's going to be a certain way. You know what I mean? If you got
superficial,
you know, it's Oh man, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought, but go ahead.
So like with that, right? Like, see, like if I'm scrolling through Instagram or whatever, and I see some like good looking girl, I'm like, oh, cool, whatever. And like I'm going through, and I see some like big buff dude, I'm like, fuck, like that dude, holy shit. But that doesn't want to make me like instantly go to the fucking gym or anything like that. So like,
Right.
I really don't understand the whole like women like sometimes see this and like, oh my god, I need to be like her, and I'm like, no, I see some big ripped dude on the street, and I'm just like, damn, that's a big dude. That's about it.
Hey, isn't it wild, right? When you're a woman and you wake up before her and you're like, oh, holy shit, this is the most beautiful creature that I've ever seen. Bless the Lord, right? Because she's so astonishingly beautiful. She wakes up, she's like, don't fucking look at me. What? What are you saying? I already love you.
That or I can't go outside without makeup.
Yep.
Something like
Or
that.
like, or like another thing that women do is like they'll wake up in the morning and you look at them, you're like, oh, good morning, beautiful, and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, my hair's messy, like I got one titty popping out my tank top, I'm a beautiful, and like, I love you. That's why you're beautiful.
That's just not.
Ever gave
That's
a
just
fuck
not.
that your hair is messy.
Right?
You know what's crazy? Let's say you did date one of them Instagram chicks, and they're fine. They're so fine. They never took a shit in their life. That's how fine they are. Okay, they're just boom, top level 10. All right, never farted, never shit, never pissed. They're they're pure. But you go and then they got some deformed lip hanging down or something like that, and it looks like just battered fucking roast beef. You know what I mean?
Well, then they're
Are you still gonna be like, hey, I won the prize, or or they just smell rank, or their toenails are like thicker than fucking Great Wall of China. You know what I mean? Something funky.
See, like for me, it's not all about. See, like I admit, I am not the most attractive man ever, right? I am not every woman's cup.
You are beautiful.
Bro, I look like the old man off of Up. What are you talking about? I got a square ass head that wears sweaters in the winter. I look like the old man.
I would shit my pants for you.
But so for like a guy like me, it's not all about looks. Yeah, if they're super attractive, it helps. But for me, it's more like, do we get along, and like, are you batshit crazy? That's the big things for me. It's like, do we click super well? Like, do we have like a lot of yeah? Learned that lesson the hard way. But it's like, do we get along? Like, can we sit down and have a conversation and like it not die off after 30 fucking seconds? Can we, watch a movie together and, you're not over there on your phone the entire time? You could be, not a 10 out of 10. You could be a solid like 6 or whatever. But because of those certain qualities, you'll still be ranked higher than somebody who's just drop dead gorgeous body wise.
100%.
Right.
It really comes down to the personality, right? You can be hot as shit, or what's that new word? I've seen it's a mid. I'm not 100% sure. Like, I'm not 100% sure what that means. Mid.
Listen, man, I got sub brick intelligence. You're going over my head with this.
Yeah. Mid what?
So mid is a new ranking. I think it just means like normal, right? Is what I've seen it used as. Just a normal woman. They're like, oh, you're just mid. Right? And it's probably the ugliest guys ever saying that they're fucking mid.
Yeah, dudes like me and you.
What it comes down to, once again, like I said, so looks are going to attract you. But what's going to make you stay is the attitude and the person that they are.
You know what?
That's the closer.
You know what's a rule of nature? And I haven't seen a change in the years that I've been here. If you're sick, attracts sick. Healthy attracts healthy. And if you ain't right in the head, that's what you're going to attract, no matter how hard you try. A dope fiend is not going to attract a banker. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's true.
It's so how tight your house is what you're going to attract, or what you're going to be attracted to. So you're going to average out. So it's a good gauge to see where you're at in life. If you're with someone who's just fucking nuts, hey, you got a little fucking, you got something going on. But if you're doing good and all that, nothing's going to be 100% perfect, then you're doing actually good. It's a good gauge. But I had to learn that over years, and it's like, man, but it's a law of nature. It never changes.
Yeah, it took me 6 years to figure that out.
But you just keep improving and doing that. So it's a working process.
Hey, so one thing that I want to bring up is these burn pits, right? Didn't something just get canceled about burn pits?
Burn pits?
Oh no, so I'm pretty sure. So burn pits, right? Burn pits in while you're deployed.
So you're talking downrange.
While you're downrange, you shit into this fucking giant can.
Oh, wasn't that hazardous?
Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't breathe burning shit. It's not even a concept. It's just a fact.
So yeah, I probably have a little more knowledge on that one if you don't mind, Raspberry.
Go ahead.
So that got outlawed probably, I don't know, 2-3 years before I got into the Army, and I came in 2016. And the reason they got rid of it is because what they were doing downrange is they were basically just shitting into like those metal 55-gallon oil drums, right? Shitting and pissing in there, and then they would pour diesel fuel in there and burn it. And it was causing all sorts of different types of cancers and stuff like that to pop up in these guys that had gone downrange and been around these burn pits. So to eliminate it, they got rid of it. But shit like that is still happening. Because, for example, like when I was in Iraq, our burn pit for our trash that we produced was, I don't know, 25 feet to the right of where we slept. So we're still breathing in all these nasty toxins and shit from all the stuff that we've been burning, all the trash and everything. Plus, we're surrounded by oil fields that are on fire. And people are getting out of the Army, after being in environments like this for, a deployment or two. And years later, doctors are, like a year or so later, doctors are, coming up to them like, hey, you have cancer, blah, blah, blah. These guys are going to the VA. And the VA's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's not service related. But these guys have pictures, videos, and stuff of them being around, active oil fires or active trash burn pits or old shit pits that they would burn. And the Army is just saying, I don't know what to tell you.
Just like with Agent Orange, they say the same thing. It's crazy.
No, so that's what I'm talking about. Is that I just heard something. I don't know all the information about it. There was a bill that was just passed, or that was not passed, and it was about the veterans who are around those shit pits, right? And they can't get medical help for it.
No. So I actually had to get special documentation. It was a process that probably took me like 7 or 8 months to do.
Way too long.
Yeah, to get proof that even though I had pictures from when I was over in Iraq and stuff, to get proof and get it approved to be put on my medical records that I was around active oil fires. So that way when I get out, I can be medically compensated for that.
Gotcha.
Like, I had to go through a 7 or 8 month process filling out ungodly amounts of paperwork just to get the help I may need down the road if something adverse does happen because of that.
That you may need, the help that you will need from that.
Yeah.
Hasn't Pops or hasn't Grandpa gone through about Agent Orange?
Yeah. Just like before, I mean, growing up, he had the shrapnel in him. And then he had Agent Orange, and he's been a product of it for as long as I've known. So it's taken its toll, but the government isn't very forthcoming, and there's a lot. It's all uphill, and it's like it's been proven. These things happen to these troops, and there's no denying it. But when it comes to responsibility and so forth, that's when everybody wants to leave the room and nobody wants to talk, and all of a sudden no phone calls are being answered.
Nope, it's that nobody wants to take responsibility for, possibly putting them in harm's way with these, chemical agents like Agent Orange or environmental things like the oil fires. They don't want to, take responsibility for that. And then they also don't want to have to just pay out the extra money that it would cost for the medical treatments that they need because of it.
Yes, and they're talking like generations worth.
Yep.
With Agent Orange, it's not just the guys involved; it's in the bloodline. So that's been an ongoing battle for as long as I can remember. So that's I said it before, and I forgot what episode, but that's my biggest problem growing up, seeing all that, how people are treated when they're asked to do things for their country, and then they come back, and it's like, oh, you're done, so we're done, and that's not the way it should be. And I know there's a lot of programs and things to help people out, and I really appreciate that. But on the same token, it should be the damn people that sent everybody out to be, stand up and do what they can instead of all this red tape. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's just an absolutely insane amount of red tape to go through when trying to get any help like that as soon as you get out of the Army. Because, like, obviously, I'm still in the Army, but I have lots of friends. The Spicy Boys, for example, all of them are now out of the Army. They have been for a couple of years now. And, some of them have health issues, or whether it be physical or mental. And some of them have told me about the amount of just red tape that they have to go through just to get seen by the VA. And it's insane. One of my...
Right.
Yeah, so one of my buddies, he got out, due to mental health issues after deployment, and he got out of the Army and wasn't seen for the first time for those issues by the VA for about 8 months after he got out, because that's just how long it took to get an appointment.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I got a weird question. Comes up a lot where I live because we got big fort we live by. So you get a lot of disabled vets, PTSD, things of that nature. They park in handicap parking. Then you see a guy in a wheelchair who has no legs, who can't get into that disabled parking. But you see someone who has DV plates go into the handicap parking, and they damn near sprint to the store. Yeah. What is the general thought on that? I haven't encountered that in my life until I got here to Texas, and it just struck me kind of odd. It's like, to me, it's like, if you can walk, but
yeah,
people that actually need it, they're kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah, so a couple of the Spicy Boys have DV plates. They got the disabled veterans plates because a couple of them are, but I mean, they're all still almost fully functioning, right? They can all use their arms and legs pretty much to full extent, or what they got out for was mental. And I know, like, all of them, they don't do that just because there may be somebody who, even if they're a veteran or not, is more disabled and needs that spot more. And that, honestly, that to me just comes down to, like, they're just being fucking entitled.
Gotcha.
At that point, that's how I feel about it. If you're a veteran and you have your disabled veteran tag on, cool, respect, no issues with it. But if you're using that to park in a handicapped spot when you are fully physically capable of walking, the extra 40 feet from another spot,
right?
Then I got no love for you, brother.
Yeah, because I had actually seen it one time. Someone came out with the wheelchair lift and all that, but they couldn't park in the disabled, and there was a gym right there. So they park in the disabled, then they go to the gym. And the dude with the wheelchair had to go way out of the way, and it was like, damn,
Yeah.
And I get it. Not really. I don't get it,
No, yeah, hey. So my feeling is, if you can walk, how about you just fucking walk?
Yeah.
Especially if you're a veteran, you've walked before, I guarantee it. Just go ahead and meet that standard, right? You should still hold yourself to the standard. Yeah. I still hold myself to a standard. It's weird, right? I don't have to, but I still do. If you can do it, do it. Just as a decent American.
I was just wondering you guys' thoughts, and like Ryan said, I think some people are just entitled. I did this, so yeah, it's my right. And I get that, but at the same time, like what was mentioned, there's going to be someone who can't walk, who can't do these things, and that kind of takes away from them. I get
There's
it.
there's always somebody who needs it more.
Yes, yes.
Ryan, so what's your experience with military spouses?
So I actually have quite a bit of experience with military spouses, considering I had one who had lots of friends who were also military spouses.
All right, so just to kind of explain it, right? So in the military, you will get married. You'll marry some woman, and sometimes they feel entitled as to they should just stay at home while you provide for everything. That's not always the case, but normally.
So, yeah. So my ex-wife, she was a stay-at-home wife. She, I think, had 2 jobs out of the 6 years we were married. She had 2 jobs, and each one was for about 6 months. Not really any fault to her own. She was also in the military and got out because of mental health problems. So that's so like no fault to her own on that. But she had a lot of friends who were also military wives, and 9 times out of 10, I could not fucking stand them. Oh my god, they were all so goddamn annoying.
Was it just bad info?
It was one of those things like you ever met somebody and like every time that person walks into the room, you're like, I'm either gonna hit this person in the face or I'm gonna fucking shoot myself. Like, goddamn, I do not want to be around them. That's how most of her friends were.
It's dumb, right?
Man. Is relationships in general rough? I mean, that's got to be a hard. It's got to be a hard tempo.
Yeah, so they're definitely rough, especially like with how often we move.
Right.
So like, perfect example is like when I was married and I was at Fort Bragg. Both times that I deployed, my wife ended up having to. She moved home both times. So we were both originally from Missouri, so she would move from North Carolina all the way to Missouri, be there for 8 months, move back to North Carolina, get everything set up in a house right before I came home, and then I would come home and then do it again when I deployed again. And then, we packed everything up from North Carolina and moved all the way up here to Washington. We moved ourselves. So, I mean, that's pretty tough. Plus, like, we're gone a lot for work, with NTC, gone for a month.
Or even just a fucking field op, right? We might spend just 2 weeks in the fucking field.
Yep.
You're always gone when you're in the military, right? They're like, oh, are you going overseas? No. Then you must be here. No. You're gone most of your fucking time.
Right. That's crazy. I just not being in the military myself, but having my dad and my boy in there, I got unique vantage points, at least with home life. The aftermath of war, and then the introduction to the military. So I got to see that.
Well, didn't you grow up with it? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember you telling me a story about tortillas, right? You were eating dinner, and you were like, hey, can I get a tortilla? And Grandpa was like, you think I was scared?
Right? Oh, no. He had his moments. He would, that switch that you talked about, it would happen, and just I got nothing but mad respect for that guy, because like I said before, there's no way I would ever want to or ever think I could know what he went through. And he did distinguished service, and he went through something that affects him to this day. And like you said,
when he was 18, right?
He was 18. He was young, and he got into it was hot over there. It was going down.
Yeah.
Now he, 70s? Is he in the 70s or his 80s?
70s, 75.
So.
And he's still. I wouldn't fuck with him to this day, not one bit. I don't give a damn if he's lying there and not able to get up. Fuck that. I would not mess with that. I've seen him pissed. I've seen him pissed once in life, and that was good. He, he's capable. So
yeah, I mean, it's a real thing because like Tubbs, you can attest to it. Like down at NTC, you saw me get heated a couple times, and like when it happened, everybody was just kind of like, everybody was keeping their distance from me a little bit after that, and like they were just like, "Hey man,
I had to fucking
are
talk
you
you down.
good?" Yeah,
I had to talk you down because it wasn't a like, oh, he might be upset. It's a holy shit, we all just fucked up. How about and you know what's so fucking wild is that it's not like, oh, okay, this might it's a so military language is shut the fuck up right now. You need to fucking listen or else, right? And but what's wild to say is that or else there is a or else.
yeah.
It's like it's not or else I'm gonna fucking pound you. It's a, or else you're gonna get fucked up.
Right.
And I mean, but yeah, so I did have talking that, but not to say that when veterans have this issue, they go fucking crazy, right? What a fucking that's not what happens.
Nah, not all the time.
No, right? And it's not like, oh, I have a flashback, I go fucking insane. People don't go fucking crazy, but it is something that they have to deal with.
Yeah.
See,
it's something that it's hard to understand.
And that's why the military is great for it, because like I've got a lot of friends like you, for example, Tubbs, or like a couple of the other people that we work with. You know, there's a loud noise or something like that at work that brings me back to that, and then they're right there to snap me out and be like, "Hey, you're good. This is where we're at." And it's not like I freak out or anything, but it's kind of those like I freeze up, don't really move, and like kind of like draw myself away from everybody, like while I collect myself. And they always catch that, and they're just like, "Hey, brother, you're good. We're safe. Like this is what's going on."
What's crazy is I got homeboys that went through their own thing, not in the military, but street stuff, and then being locked up. And it's almost the same way. They get a smell or a sound, and they're on. They ain't even playing, And I think that moniker PTSD runs over a vast amount of situations. Whether it be battle or it be environments that are just extremely violent, for a long period of time. You get a guy who's been locked up for 20 years, there's going to be some things that you just can't do or say around them, and just, you got to be mindful of their situation. And if I hadn't grown up with my dad, and I saw people react like that, I would probably just think, man, they're pretty fucking thrown off, just leave them alone. But I have an appreciation because I know, or I heard what he went through and stuff like that. So, and I've seen the aftermath. So I understand that. So I'm mindful around people who have been in those situations.
With that, I want to bring up one more thing real quick, because I know we're probably getting close on time. Like mental health is, mental health for males has been a big thing recently, and it's all because that one fighter decided to stand up and say, hey, like, even if you're a man and you're going through a hard time, speak up, speak out to somebody. And I can't agree with that more. Like, as somebody who has lost friends because they didn't speak out, they didn't reach out to one of the other boys to just say, hey, I need to talk. Like, I would much rather sit there and, hold you while you cry on my shoulder than go to your funeral, as he put it. And speaking from somebody who's had to go bury his friends because they did that, like, if you're having mental health issues and you're a man, don't think you got to hold that shit inside. Talk to somebody.
Right. Do they have people that you can go to that they blast to everybody so everybody knows, or?
Yeah, so they do. The only thing is, so like, yeah, so it's not even that are they good. It's so like on the infantry side of the army, if somebody were to go up to their platoon sergeant or whatever and say like, hey, I'm depressed, they'd be like, all right, cool, shut up, quit being a bitch, go back to work. And just over there, going and getting the help for that was not a norm. It was like, oh, he's going to see
stigma, right?
It was like, oh, he's going to see behavioral health. He's the bitch.
Oh, now you're a coward, right?
Yeah. So we were all just taught like, hey, don't be a bitch. Just keep that shit inside. Don't tell nobody about it.
But from what you see, that's such a crazy thing to say to people.
Yeah.
That's old school.
But like it took me getting to the other side of the army into aviation life to realize like, oh, I actually can go and get help for this and not be, ostracized for it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big change that I've noticed. I know older generations, they didn't want to ask for help. I don't need help. I can walk. I can do this. So I don't need disability. I don't need this. And then as times changed and the realizations changed, they were able to go and ask for help. And then a lot of them had changed their lives for the better,
Yeah.
So, hey,
Good.
It's been really good having you on, Ryan. I truly appreciate your input and just you as a guest. And thank you again for what you do. You have an open invite to come on anytime, man. You really do.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you guys once again for letting me come here. This was a lot of fun, and just let me know if you ever want to have me back on here.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. If anybody wants to get a hold of us on Twitter, Toilet Talk Cigar Chingon and _ Raspberry Fresh. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Everybody out there, be safe. Don't be dumb. Don't be that guy.
Hey, closing advice?
Sure. Go ahead. Hit it.
Oh, so I feel, hey, keep your shoulders back, keep your chin up, all right? You're a fantastic person. I don't know who you are, but I know that you are worthy of greatness, all right?
All right. Ryan?
Closing advice. If you're going through it, reach out to a friend.
That's it. My words, yeah, if you are going through it, feel free to open up. No harm, no foul. Men nowadays, that definition is changing. So you got to be, a man includes being mentally healthy and being there for your family, your friends, and your loved ones. And if you can, get a morning blowjob because it is the best experience ever. If you don't have to ask for it and it's just given, it's better than fucking ice cream on a hot day. I'm telling you. I'm just saying. And with that, thank you for being a part of the Toilet Talk Nation. We will be back next week with some more shit to talk about. Thank you very much.
What's up, nation? What's going on? It's Cigar Chingon. Welcome to another edition.
There's a question that you asked, Raspberry. Kind versus nice. What are you talking about?
So it's a very, or it might not be a popular topic, but it has been brought up to me. It's a kind person versus a nice person, right? And when you're growing up, your parents might intermix them. They'll be like, hey, you got to be kind, you got to be nice, right? But growing up in several different areas, I've been to, I just grew up in several different areas. Kind and nice took on a different meaning. And it was brought up to me by, I don't remember who, but they made a solid point, is that nice people will tell you nice things that you want to hear, right? And that's great. It boosts you up. But kind people will tell you what you need to hear.
So one is disingenuous and one is like dead honest.
100%, right? Because and it's so weird to say, is that kind people, even though they might tell you something that you don't want to hear, they have your best intentions at heart, right? Nice people will tell you something that you want to hear, and you might freeze to death in the fucking cold, right? Because they might tell you, oh, you look good, but that jacket's not warm enough. A kind person will be like, hey, fucker, go put on a fucking good jacket, or else you're going to fucking die, right?
So a nice person is going to be like, you got the biggest dick in the world, and a kind person is going to be like, hey, we'll make it work.
Fucking
yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, it's like, do you got a fucking big ass cock or do you have a carrying cock, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Who the fuck is going to come first?
Yeah, you got a baby arm or not, That's it. I get it, yeah. Well, yeah, that's legit, I'd rather have people kind to me than nice, because nice is just, it's a drive-by formality, that's all.
100%. And that's why Ryan, shout out to you, one of my best friends, right? Because sometimes he tell me shit that I don't want to hear, right?
Yeah.
I really don't want to hear it. It's like, oh, hey, dude, you're being a fucking asshole. Calm it the fuck down. I'll be like, son of a bitch, fuck you, but I am being an asshole.
And you know what? That's pretty much your response every time I do it. I'm like, hey, listen, brother, you're being a fucking douchebag right now. You need to shut the fuck up. And you're just like, you fucking bitch. You're right.
Honestly, yeah. One of those greatest times, we were in NTC, right? I just got in charge of the night force, right? We'd walk around in the desert, about a week with no fucking offs, right? We're just walking in fucking dark. The stars look cool, but we couldn't see fuck else. All right, and I was like, all right, time to move. Get up. And Ryan was no, say, hey guys, we need to move. I was like, no, they need to move. Right? So it sounded like an absolute asshole. Who would ever want to follow me? No one. Ryan was like, no. Say please. And I was like, ugh. So in my head, I was like, time to fucking move. He was like, say please. These are still fucking human beings, right? So I started treating them with kindness now, but yeah.
Yeah, like that's a good example of it. So like when we were down at NTC, like I know that was like I put you in charge of being in charge of I put you in charge of an entire squad, and I said, hey, these are going to be your guys. You're in charge of making sure that they have all their weapons, all their equipment, they're combat ready at all times. And I know that like you really hadn't been in any leadership roles before, so like I was trying to use that as like a very good teaching moment. And honestly, that's a good example of kind versus nice. Like you were just being like, hey, let's go, get the fuck up, we gotta go. It's like, nah, brother, hit him with that. Hey, here's what's happening. We gotta fucking move. Everybody get your shit. Let's get it together.
100%. I still care about these guys, but the way you talk to them is so different.
Yep. And it has to be.
It honestly has to be, right? Because who wants to follow a dickhead? No one. Who wants to follow someone that cares about them? Everyone, right?
But it's one of those things, like, if you're a dickhead all the time, right, your guys are gonna let you run out there into that firefight by yourself. But like, I treated you guys pretty well and respect, and I know every single one of you guys that were down there with me would have fucking followed me into a goddamn nuclear power plant that's about to explode if I asked you to.
Very, very easily. Ryan was up, and as much as I hated it, right, I tried to tell his little fucking ass to drink water and to go to fucking sleep, right? Because he was up probably 20 hours out of the fucking day, and I hated it. What he did, he made sure all of us ate, right? Before us. So he made sure we all ate before him. He was like, okay, yeah, you guys haven't been to bed yet, go to bed. Take your ass to sleep too. That wasn't his, right? I don't know how the fuck you ran off of 8 hours of sleep over fucking 30 days. It doesn't make any damn sense. But
secret ingredient is panic.
So panic. Okay, look. So okay, this is fantastic. Fucking you're getting shot at one night, right? And I run fast, but I'm fat, right? So I run as fast as a fat man can. All right. So fucking. So we took contact. We got there. We eviscerated that contact. We got back there. Right. We got back to our tent, and I asked him because I hated it, right? Because he was so much faster than me. And I
was faster than everybody out there, brother. Yeah,
right. And I was like, son of a bitch, how are you so fast? He looked me in the face. He said, panic. Shit.
I literally looked him dead in the eyes and just whispered, panic.
Oh, it was insane. It was a very fun fucking time, but yeah.
And the way he described it was perfect too, because like he looked at me, he's like, I don't get it, man. Like, how do you sprint so fast like that? He's like, I swear to God, when you're running, your legs are fucking 6 inches longer. And I was like, that dude, panic.
Calmly, like no one's asking him a genuine fucking question, right? It's not like, it's like you're asking an idiot something, right? Not to say you're an idiot whatsoever.
Oh, but brother, I know I am. It's okay.
It was such an easy question. He said, panic, panic. But he whispered it too, and I was just like, holy fucking shit. Son of a bitch. I was sprinting my ass off, out of fucking breath, right? I fucking hit the dirt like this, but trying to fucking find my fucking target, right? Trying to zero my sight. Fucking, and this guy's over there. Fucking here, you go here, come on, get your ass up, get these fucking machine guns fucking going, why the fuck aren't they fucking firing? I'm over here now, I'm like, oh, son of a bitch! Oh, and he's taking people fucking a half mile walk. It's wild shit. It was very fun.
Yeah. And like that's one of the things. Like while we were out there, is like I'm a very firm believer in leaders lead from the front.
Right.
So in every situation that we were in out there, I was the first one out the door. I was the first one to fucking initiate contact, and I was always at the front of our formation, leading you guys into battle because I am not going to go into
the first.
Yeah, and it also helps that I was the fastest, but you know, but I'm not going to put you guys into a situation that I would not put myself in.
Right.
Fantastic leader.